What ho, chaps, how the devil? Friend of mine sent me this today. It's definitely worth reading through. Stephen Daisley's excellent piece in The Spectator. Excellent stuff. Obviously excellent because it confirms things that I've said. But you'll have to forgive me that extravagance. We all like hearing how right we are, don't we? Probably don't like hearing things confirmed from requested columnists when you've got the IQ of a pork pie, like most of those that work for the BBC and the Sky News and the Guardian. But me, I like reading things from educated people that confirm what I've been saying for years. So let's do it, shall we? It's French republicanism confounds American progressives. Of course it does. Everything confounds American progressives. Fuck me. Great image as well, that, isn't it? Because how many times in the recent months have I complained about Macron being better on this one subject than Boris, Merkel and everybody else? You know, a milquetoast centrist like Macron does a better job on all of these liberal principles than someone like Boris, who allegedly is the leader of the Conservative Party, and he conserves nothing. Conserves absolutely nothing. So can an entire country sue for libel? If so, France would have a strong suit against swathes of the American left. The US progressive movement, including the New York Times and Washington Post, has turned on La République over its citizens' habit of getting themselves murdered by the way, caveat, I will not, as usual, even mention the I word, the M word. I will use instead oblique references, because if you ever say anything even remotely critical of one particular ideology, YouTube slaps you like a red-headed stepchild. Paz has been getting shadow banned aggressively. I've been stuck on the same number of subs for about a month, and I refuse to believe that nobody at all is watching my stuff when everything's popular. My live streams, I'm getting loads of feedback. So it's shenanigans by Susan. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. However, oblique references are all I will use when referring to the adherents of one particular Bronze Age mythology. Anyway, back to the story. Most recently, this has included Samuel Paty, a teacher beheaded in the streets for showing his students cartoons of a wonderful, glorious, educated man, and 3 people murdered in a church in Nice. In response, French President Emmanuel Macron has proposed stricter regulations for financing of glorious buildings and an end to homeschooling. And in response to this, much of the American left has lost its mind. I wrote about the new American Francophobia at the start of the month, but the situation has only deteriorated since then. Yes, indeed it has, because the long march through the institutions has been completed entirely in the United States, and formerly reputable institutions, Harvard, Yale, incredibly old and respected newspapers like the New York Times and the Washington Post have turned into outrageous churches of communist piety. So there is no thought process in these institutions anymore. So of course the situation has deteriorated. It says Amnesty International charges that Macron and his government have doubled down on their perpetual smear campaign against wonderful Frenchmen. A news article in the New York Times tells us that the French government has come under fire for actions and statements that have risked conflating ordinary French glorious people with people accused of extremism. Another Times piece opines that Macron has every interest in flexing his anti-terror muscles in public and was benefiting from public outrage and nationalism in the wake of the killing. The Times also considers Macron's response to the terrorist attacks aggressive. Aggressive. What are we supposed to do when people disembowel disabled children and chop people's heads off? What are we supposed to do? Use harsh language against them? What? Stand outside their places of worship, stroking a goat and shaking prayer beads? How do you deal with people bashing babies' brains out up against the side of the Louvre? What do you want us to do? What? A Washington Post headline representative of the paper's coverage reads, France insists it's targeting of nice people, extremists, but some foreign observers and French chaps see a broader agenda. One Post editor claimed on Twitter that Macron wants to give children of glory an ID number to go to school. Then she admitted this was incorrect. Oh, she just admitted, so she just totally made it up, but said he was still stalking logic phobia and asserted a likelihood that such a bill will likely create a climate in which beep will disproportionately suffer even more in France. Then she apologised, but later added, she's just fucking talking waffle constantly, making shit up as she goes along. Then she apologised, but later added, what France needs to do is not continue the cycle of hostility towards... the laugh will do for that one. Cycle of hostility, yeah? So they squashed 400 people in Nice, butchered a load of children and teenagers at a pop concert, and lopped a teacher's head off because he showed some kids some cartoons. And apparently this is the cycle of hostility is the stern words talking about these events. Right up. This sentence is class. We are another beheading or two from the headline. Critics say France dressing provocatively, taking dangerous route home at night. They really are. They have lost the plot. I'm old enough to remember when American francophobia was the preserve of talk radio fulminators and Bush-era Republican strategists. Yeah, everyone used to take the piss out of the French. But these days, John Kerry said he wouldn't be seen dead looking French because it no longer symbolises cosmopolitan, Gitan-centred, philosophic bavardage on the left bank. France, for American progressives, is now a logic-phobic state where tolerant, progressive, educated fellows are being assigned identification numbers by centrist Mussolini. Votes escroc pas facho, cried the students of Sciences Po when the 2002 presidential election came to a choice between neo-Gaullist Jacques Chirac and sinister nativist Jean-Marie Le Pen. What does that mean? Vote crook, not fascist. Yeah. At the time, neo-American liberals were taken with the idea of left and right coming together to defeat a fascist, but now they think the French left and right are fascist. Yeah, even the left. As one former Guardian US journalist put it, Macron is going full fascist. Yeah. A milquetoast, centre-left, Ponzi banker twat is a full-blown fascist. This reminds me of me. You know what I'm saying? This is a crazy time. That I'm liberal. I'm left of centre on every political compass I fill out. Just. And after the last 4 years, I dare say I'm starting to lean slightly more to the right. But I'm a centrist. A milquetoast, boring twat centrist. And look at this dozy twat. I've told you lads I don't delete or ban anyone. Frankly, I'm starting to think I should fucking start. However, I'll deal with that issue if it ever becomes a problem when I get more subs. Look at this moron. He's saying, oh yeah, you're just bitter because the Scots are walking away from the UK. It doesn't seem to be aware of the fact they lost the last referendum. But having a go at me and coming out with classics like, because I attacked one fat, greedy communist, therefore I don't like Scotland. Or even worse, because I don't like fat, greedy, hypocritical communists, therefore I don't support the NHS or benefits or state pensions. just a full-on maniac coming out with total shit. So yeah, weirdo. You don't like hypocritical, corrupt communists, therefore you don't think we should have state pensions. All right, mate. Yeah, whatever. And also, you do realise that the UK Armed Forces would throw you out and label you an extremist. Yeah, like these people think if you are anywhere right of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, you're a extremist. Well, I was a Royal Marine for nearly 10 years, and I was in the Territorial Army I've basically been in the military for about 12 years. And apparently, they throw you out now. They throw you out if you're a milquetoast centrist. This is what these fucking lunatics think, because they're living in an alternative reality. And that's what these maniacs in the US are like now. Macron is going full fascist. If you think Macron is a fascist, you are, to use the polite term, an absolute fucking cunt. A thick twat of the highest order. Or as he says, no rational, evidence-based reading of events in France leads you to the conclusion that the Fifth Republic is Weimar. The only way you get there is if you see Weimar everywhere, or rather if you see it in America and America in every other nation. The American progressive theory of history is no theory at all, only monomania girded by ignorance. Isn't it enough that you know nothing about the US history without having to know nothing about the rest of the world too? Exactly fucking right. He's so... That's why I want to read the piece. He's right about everything. I was going to not finish the rest of it and just riff of my own accord. But we're so in lockstep, I think I can just crack on with this guy's writings. Because his scribblings sum up what I've been saying for years. The lefty twats. Remember when I shared the video about the guys laughing and chuckling away, saying, oh, look at all these ignorant right-wing rubes. What's a map? You know, chuckling away about it. Just be aware it's not even remotely funny, despite the fake laughter of the three on the screen.
And look, he also knows deep in his heart that Donald Trump couldn't find Ukraine on a map if you had the letter U and a picture of an actual physical crane next to it. He knows that this is, you know, an administration defined by ignorance of the world. And so that's partly him playing to their base and playing to their audience, you know, the credulous boomer rube demo that backs Donald Trump, that wants to think that Donald Trump's a smart one and y'all elitists are dumb.
Only them elitists know where Ukraine is.
Yeah, remember that? Like, just total bullshit. Nonsense. And as he points out here, the lefties, they love to laugh and say only 10% of Americans have a passport. The actual figure's 43%. But all these people who consider themselves to be educated chaps, they know fuck all. They know nothing about the rest of the world. I've talked about this many times. I even see congressmen, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all of the anchors, the apparent experts, the talking heads, they know nothing. Know nothing about the rest of the world. When they try and bumble into British politics and talk about Parliament or the House of Lords or Brexit, honestly, it is a total shambles. They're making it up as they go along. These people know nothing. They present themselves as educated. They are ignorant. As he says here, yet progressive francophobia seems to be the preserve of those very Americans who are supposed to be widely travelled and sensitive to other cultures. Their sojourns on the slopes of Gstaad and city breaks in Berlin have given them no perspective of life outside Scarsdale and Pacific Heights. They view the whole world through the breathless white supremacy updates that is the CNN Chiron. That's an electrically generated, that's basically subtitles on a TV screen. It's category error to think the American leftists are abandoning their Gaelic counterparts. The French left is actually left. Again, how many times have I said that? They lampoon everybody. After Charlie Hebdo, they had them smearing the cartoonists, charred. A lifelong liberal, a lifelong lefty, getting smeared as a right-wing fascist Nazi racist because he got butchered, murdered like an animal. They're crazy, these people. The French left is actually left. Not the Anglo-centric left that you've got in Britain and America. The French left are left. Yes, some of them are Marxists and socialists, but most of them are liberals, united under the banner of republicanism. That's not to say French radicals are never tempted by postmodernism. Obviously, it's fucking taken over the world. But they are an activist left, and their activist has substance. Current American leftism, like its British analogue Corbynism, is defined by an angry inertia, furious about so many things they can never get around to doing something about any of them. Even when they propose a change, defund the police, it is quickly followed by assurances that not much will change. French leftism is alien to American leftism because French leftism is material and American leftism is fucking mush. It is nothing. It's virtue signalling, slacktivism, send a few tweets and go back to Starbucks. Anyway, I'm not going to read the whole thing because I'm going to leave some of it for you guys to go and click the link and have a read of it. Because it's a fucking good story. Stephen Daisley deserves some credit for writing it and The Spectator deserves some credit for printing it. Check it out, I implore you. Thanks for watching, as usual, and I will see you guys very soon. Cheers.